have here today. Thank you very much. I also want to recognize we have a lot of viewers tuning in tonight. We have folks from Ontario, Virginia, Washington, and even Hay River. So to those out there watching, thank you. And I think they see the significance in tuning in no matter how you can about this historic event. So thank you all for taking the time out to do this. So first let me say, so I can get this out of my system, that how happy I am today. Not only is it International Women's Day, and as a woman I am so proud, but today is so historic because we are now seeing Viola Desmond on the $10 bill. And for American friends, so Viola Desmond is our Rosa Parks, even though Viola Desmond happened many years before Rosa Parks did. It's still great company and great teamwork that we're all doing. Canada did it first. Okay. So who would have thought that we would be here after all these many years ago, that when Viola went, just by the mere presence of actually just waiting for her car to be repaired. Like normal of us, we'd go to the movies, right? Go to the movies, wait for the time to pass. But no, it didn't happen. And the injustices that she endured, and the fact that we are here now, that she stood on her principle, stood by doing things that are right. We are now here witnessing that she is on the $10 bill. And we thank her for standing up for her convictions. So thank you. Now for me, this is one of those kind of where were you when moments. And I am proud to say that I was at the Black Cultural Center on March the 8th, 2018, when the bill is unveiled. And you can now put yourself in that company. So I would like to thank William Hamilton and Io Olabajebi, again, the drummers from home. I just put a plug in there. They are an ensemble, and they are looking for jobs if you need any drumming requirements. They are available. I think most people know where to get Wayne. And it always puts me in a celebratory mood. I don't know if you saw our sister coming down the aisle. She was grooving. So it just puts you in the mood that it is truly a celebration. And so I'd like now to take the time to introduce the processional and ask that you stand and be recognized. So the Honorable Mayani Francis, former Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia. The Honorable Daryl Sampson, Member of Parliament, Sackville. I do have regrets from Minister Ince, African Nova Scotian Affairs. He's unable to be here. As you know, there's a little thing going on in the legislature. So he's not able to be here. So Councillor Laureline Nickel from Halifax Regional Municipality. Sergeant Craig Smith, President of the Black Cultural Center. Wanda Robson, sister of Viola Desmond. Wall, Managing Director of Bank of Canada. The RCMP Honor Guard and the City Police Honor Guard. Thank you. I want to make special mention to the Stetson and Spurs, the Preston and Cole Harbor Divisions. It is so great to see the youth here. Thank you again for coming out. So my name is Tracy Thomas. I'm the Senior Policy Analyst with African Nova Scotian Affairs, and I'm going to be your MC this evening. Thank you. So now I'd like to get the program started and invite Ariana Willis to the stage to sing the national anthems, O Canada and the Black National Anthem. So before Ariana comes up, I just want to provide a little bit of bio of her. She's a senior at Prince Andrew High School and was born and raised in Dartmouth with strong family roots in North Creston, where her love of singing began at the age of 7. The love of acting soon followed. Starring in school plays and musical productions with her high school. Her most recent performance included her high school production of Legally Blonde, The Wiz, To Broadway with Love, By Broadway in the Whip. And Ariana aspires to pursue a degree in psychology. Ariana,
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot, in all thy son's command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thanks for helping me out. Lift every voice and sing, turn and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun out of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, thou who hast brought thy might, let us into the light. Keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
thank you, Ariana. And all the best in your use. So at this time, I'd like to call Sergeant Craig Smith, President of the Black Hope Society, to the stage to bring opening remarks.
brothers, mothers, sisters, nieces, girlfriends, and wives in attendance here tonight, a very happy International Women's Day. So good evening. MP Daryl Sampson, Mr. Wall from the Bank of Canada, former Lieutenant Governor Marianne Francis, Councillor Nicol, Joe and Wanda Robson. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the board of the Black Cultural Society, and we have a number of board members here tonight in the second row, and our staff under the direction of our Executive Director, Mr. Russell Gross, who did a lot of hard work here today, getting things to look at as they do right now. I want to extend a very heartfelt welcome to the Black Cultural Center. For those of you that this is your first time, please don't make it your last. And for those of you that have been coming and do continue to come, please keep on supporting us because we need it. What a historic event tonight. I want to thank the Bank of Canada for extending today's celebration and to include a community component tonight for those that couldn't be there today. For the young folks that I see seated over here and throughout the crowd, tonight may just be you're here because you heard about the banknote being unveiled and you heard about Viola Desmond or know a little bit about her. I think the true significance tonight may come to you a little later, but you want to, as Tracy said, you want to remember, number one, that you were here when this historic event happened, but secondly, we need to put into context the fact that never in the history of North America has there ever been a woman of color on a banknote. And so I ask you to just think that here in this place in 2018, we're celebrating a North American first that was done by an African Nova Scotian woman. Doesn't that just blow your mind? I've been blessed enough myself to have been present in the Red Room at Province House on the afternoon of April the 15th, 2010, when our former Lieutenant Governor signed into law the free pardon of mercy for Viola Desmond. And for me, from the historical side of things, it was a high point, and I never imagined it shows you the power of what can happen when things get put in motion. And we went from there to a stamp, to the ferry, to now, making North American history. Just amazing. Truly one event that you all want to say that you were at. And I know that all of you will be in line like myself come the end of this year when the actual banknotes are released and everybody can get one. So sit back, enjoy yourself, and be part of history.
Thank you, Craig. I would now like to invite the Honourable Daryl Sampson, Member of Parliament for Sackville, Preston, Chesapeake, to bring remarks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and this is a special moment for not only for today being International Women's Day, but what a way to celebrate Women's International Day and Viola Desmond. To match it together is awesome. I'm very proud as a Member of Parliament for Sackville, Preston, Chesapeake, and being the member that represents the region of North, East, Preston, Lake Loom, and Cherry Brook. It's special. And on behalf of our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and our government, I want to wish everybody a great evening here and celebration tonight. This is truly a special moment. And as my colleague mentioned, first African, Nova Scotian, black woman in North America. When we say first, there can be no other first. You can say second or third or fourth, but you shall never be able to say first again, because it belongs to Viola Desmond. This special individual who did something unbelievable, trying to do today what she did then would be easier because you'd have a lot more support than what she had. What she had was herself, her family, her community, And that's it. That's all. And she, with the support of her family and friends and community, was able to challenge discrimination, segregation. That is unbelievable. And what's more important is that the government of Canada has recognized the importance, the role she played in Canada and in the world for civil rights. And I've never met her personally, but I feel close to her when I watch Wanda. Each and every time I see her sister, Wanda Robson, I can tell the energy in her sister, and in her family must have and is awesome. And for those who were able to watch her walk down or dance her way down here, you know, as my colleague, President of the Society mentioned, Sergeant Smith, and I want to agree, of course, and remind you all that this place that we stand here today is the largest black cultural center in Canada. In Canada. And maybe it's time we look at possibly making this a national cultural center. And when I speak in the House of Commons about North Preston and the Preston areas and surrounding areas, they don't know that we have the oldest black community in Canada. They know that. I'm also very proud of our government's decision in the last budget, Budget 218. Two big investments, $23 million towards multiculturalism, to consult and study and report on anti-discrimination, but also an investment of $19 million towards young black Canadian communities. That is recognizing that it is more than time to start working closely and supporting the youth and the black community here in Nova Scotia and across Canada. It's essential. I know this community will be celebrating in August 2019, the homecoming, Preston Homecoming Township. And that takes a lot of volunteers and leaders. And if there's one thing I've learned in 2 years, the volunteers and the leaders in this community are unbelievable. They know how to celebrate, they know how to lead, they know how to participate. And I'll tell you, the food is awesome. Awesome. So today we're celebrating Viola Desmond through the $10 bill. What's so nice about this is that every day that anybody pulls out the $10 bill, it's Viola. She's with you at all times. That's priceless. With you at all times. So again, I want to thank her family. I want to thank Wanda, because Wanda is allowing us to live and understand Viola Desmond. It's through her that we're able to better understand and appreciate, acknowledge, and support. And for that, I thank her, I thank her family, and I thank all of you, her community. Thank you very much, and let's have a great celebration.
Thank you, Dr. Sampson. Now, at this time, I'd like to invite Councillor Laura Lee Nicol to the stage to bring remarks on behalf of the city.
Good evening, everyone. I love coming to the Black Cultural Center. It's always an honor to be here. It's a true honor to be here tonight to bring greetings on behalf of Mayor Mike Savage and my colleagues on Halifax Regional Council. He's here?
I wasn't going to be able to be here later, but I skipped out of another meeting so I could be here. But I want Councillor Nicol, who's the great representative of this area, to continue on. I see Councillor Hensby there as well, yeah. He's not hard to pick out. If you see him inside, you'll see his van outside. Councillor Hensby, don't sneak up on nobody. Councillor Nicol.
I could make so many jokes about International Women's Day right now. Honored guests, Darryl from my hometown in Cape Breton. It's not really a town, just a little village. It's an honor. Marianne Francis, Dr. Marianne Francis. And, of course, Wanda Robson. It's an honor to welcome you back here at the Black Cultural Center. And I thoroughly enjoyed walking behind you. The best part was when you let that walker just go. And I look forward to the stories that you're going to tell, I'm sure, once we're done. And our banker right there, I didn't quite catch your name when we walked in. Nice to be here. It's interesting because I know it's been said, and I know the woman behind the wall mentioned some of the history, but it's a story that's going to be told, I hope, many times. Not just when you see the $10 bill, but in our schools and every time that you talk about this first time, like Dale Simpson said. 72 years ago in New Glasgow, Viola Desmond, who was 32 at that time, was dragged out of a small movie theater and put in jail for refusing to give up her seat in the whites-only section. She was convicted of defrauding the province of 1 penny tax. The difference in price between the white section and the black section. She appealed her conviction and lost. But she didn't stop fighting. She went on to become a champion of civil rights in this province and country. As was said earlier, being called Canada's Rosa Parks. Even though her act of defiance came 9 years, as you said, 9 years before Miss Parks refused to give her seat on an Alabama bus. Today is truly a proud day for African Nova Scotians, for women, and indeed all Canadians. Today, Viola's face graces a beautiful new $10 Canadian bill. You look quite interesting hiding behind it. And then you can see her feet from the first non-royal woman to appear on a Canadian banknote. This $10 bill, along with HRM's newest ferry, named in her honor, is a testament to Viola's commitment to civil rights and education, and highlights just how far we have come as a community and as a country. Now, people across the country will know Viola's story, and parents will be able to tell their children about the powerful and brave contributions to civil rights in Nova Scotia, and indeed, the world. So on behalf of all of HRM, let me share and offer my sincere congratulations and best wishes to the Black Cultural Center and the community of Cherrybrook on this historic occasion. I had to get Cherrybrook in there. As the feet emerge. Here we go. So thank you, Councillor. And
and welcome, Mayor Savage. So thank you all again for those great words in supporting this historic day. So now at this time, I'd like to invite Rael Williams, Manager of Programs at the Black Cultural Center, to come forward to introduce our keynote speaker.
Hello, everybody. So it is my pleasure today to stand here before you all on this very historical moment to introduce what I think is a phenomenal woman. The Honorable Dr. Mayanne Francis, Order of Nova Scotia recipient, was the first African Nova Scotian and only the second woman to serve as Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia from 2006 to 2012. While serving as Lieutenant Governor, she conferred a posthumous free pardon on Nova Scotia entrepreneur and civil rights pioneer Viola Desmond. She was the first vice-regal representative to grant the Royal Prerogative of Mercy free pardon in Canadian history. In 2015, she was appointed to Dalhousie University, the Faculty of Management and School of Public Administration as the first Distinguished Public Service Fellow. She was the recipient of 4 honorary degrees, an honorary diploma, Luminary Award, Harry Jerome Award, and the Queen's Diamond and Golden Jubilee Medals. She has established awards at the Nova Scotia Community College and Atlantic School of Theology. She was chair of the Board of Governors at the Atlantic School of Theology, CEO of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission, and ombudsman for Province of Nova Scotia. She also served in senior management roles with the Ontario government, and Dr. Francis has volunteered on numerous boards and committees for non-profit organizations. Added to her accomplishments, and her first children's book, My Anne's Train Ride, was published in 2015. So please put your hands together to help me welcome the Honorable Dr. Mayanne E. Francis.
Thank you, Rael, for that introduction. And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Good evening. Great crowd here. Mayor Savage, I crossed you off my list, so I acknowledge you here tonight. Mayor Savage, thank you. Richard Wall, Managing Director of the Bank of Canada, thank you very much for Viola being on our $10 bill. Sergeant Craig Smith, President of the Black Cultural Society, members of the Municipal Council, Member of Parliament, Primate of the African Orthodox Church, Vincent Waterman, members of the clergy, and I believe there's retired justices here as well. And of course, darling Viola, calling you Viola, Wanda Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, young people, I'm a young person, youth and seniors. I would first like to begin by acknowledging that we are in the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I would also like to acknowledge my ancestors who fought for social justice and equality. Many of them lost their lives in their struggle for freedom, and I stand on their shoulders. Millions of women around the world have marked today as International Women's Day, and we mark this every year. At rallies, fairs, marches, panel discussions, films, and receptions are held to celebrate the achievement of women. But today, March the 8th, 2018, women, but particularly African Canadian women, men, youth, and seniors will mark this as a significant turning point in Canadian history. Today, we witness the unveiling of the first woman, other than Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, to appear on our Canadian currency. I hope that all Canadians, regardless of their gender and background, will embrace with pride this accomplishment. For African Canadian women, men, seniors, young adults, and youth, Today is a watershed moment in our history. For too long, African Canadians have suffered the pains of racism and discrimination that led to our exclusion from significant roles in Canadian society. The impact of racism and discrimination on our lives physically, emotionally, and economically cannot be understated. From this day forward, we will see our race, our face on the Canadian currency. As you know, on April the 15th, 2010, members of the public and Viola Desmond's family joined members of the government and the Province House on what can only be described as an exceptional and historic occasion to atone for the wrongs of the past against Viola, Irene, Davis, Desmond. On that momentous day, on the advice of the Executive Council through the Premier of Nova Scotia, Darrell Dexter at the time, I, the first African Nova Scotian to serve as Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, conferred the royal prerogative of mercy, free pardon, upon Viola Desmond. My black sister went to her grave with a criminal record, not knowing that one day a black woman would set her free. With that freedom, Viola, even in death, changed the course of history. In 1936, William Churchill said, and I quote, "We cannot undo the past, but we are bound to pass it in review in order to draw from it such lessons as may be applicable to the future." End quote. The free pardon represented the unwavering recognition of her innocence. I want to make that clear. It's a free pardon that recognizes her innocent and wrongful conviction all those years ago and rights a wrong that should never have happened. Right. What made the free pardon necessary? You know the story, but it's worth repeating over and over and over again. 72 years ago, on November the 8th, 1946, Viola Desmond, a very successful black businesswoman, left her Halifax home in her vehicle bound for Sydney, Cape Breton, where she had planned to expand her business, and I'm from Cape Breton. Her car developed mechanical trouble, as you know. She stopped in New Glasgow to have it attended to. Viola never made it to Sydney. Subsequent events on that day changed the course of history forever in Nova Scotia and in Canada. Viola was a hard-working entrepreneur with a dream and a vision for success. She was unique because she was a successful black businesswoman during a time when race relations in Nova Scotia and Canada were dismal. Viola was not always in the beauty business. She first began her career as an educator. Black people were denied entry into the training schools in Truro and instead had to obtain a teaching certificate by passing a provincial test. Viola studied through correspondence course, wrote the provincial tests, and obtained her certificate. Black teachers were not allowed to teach in white schools, they were only allowed to teach in black schools. Segregation. She became interested in the beauty business after she read an article about the first black female millionaire in the United States, Madam J. Walker. Madam Walker developed beauty products and beauty training schools for black women in the 1900s. Viola had to leave the province to study at a beauty school in Montreal because Halifax training schools were for whites only. Her determination, intelligence, and business acumen, matched by her drive to succeed in the face of racism and discrimination, is a testament to the type of person Viola was. It was obvious to me that she understood the value of hard work and empowerment. Her parents gave her a solid foundation and the support she needed to follow her dreams. So on that day in 1946, Viola's life changed forever. Because her car would take several hours to be repaired, she decided to go to a movie. She sat downstairs where blacks were supposed to sit in the balcony, but she sat downstairs too because her eyesight was poor. She was dragged out like an animal and thrown to jail because she refused to sit in the black section of the theater, which was upstairs in the balcony. She was subsequently convicted of tax evasion of 1 penny because it cost more to sit in the white section, but the clerk refused to accept her money to pay the difference in price. The justice system failed her, and by extension it failed all of us. So for add a penny to $9.99, we have to $10. When I granted Viola the free pardon, I said that our history is filled with tales of injustice. It is only on rare occasions with the clarity of hindsight and the benefit of careful thought and measured reason that society comes together to undo the wrongs of the past. But make no mistake, it is impossible that with the stroke of a pen and the granting of a free pardon, history is forgotten and the proverbial slate is wiped clean. However, the granting of the free pardon to Viola Desmond has ensured that her legacy lives on in legal journals, newspapers, human rights research, political science debates, race relations studies, and now on the Canadian $10 bill. The significance of my connection to Viola or her connection to the Royal Crown can never be denied or ignored. It is like the circle had been completed between the promise of her brave stand for equality and social justice and my appointment to the vice-regal office. The circle was completed. We will never know what heights Viola would have taken her business because she never seemed to thrive again after her experience in New Glasgow. Did that cruel act of November the 8th, 1946, and its aftermath crush her dreams? Did this evil act set the stage for breaking her spirit? There is sufficient research to point to the negative impact of racism, regardless of whether it is an overt act or a subtle act. Regardless of the kind of racism one may encounter, the negative impacts on the economy, our democratic institutions, individual health, and Canadian communities are far-reaching. On this International Women's Day, which celebrates the advancements made by women around the world, we must not lose sight that there is plenty of work to do. As a black woman, I believe women of color and Indigenous women still have a long way to go before we achieve full equality and total acceptance. The unveiling of Viola's portrait on the $10 bill this afternoon has a deep and profound impact on African Canadians, especially Black women. The general public can, and I hope, will celebrate Viola as the first woman to appear on a currency. But I also want society to understand and to embrace why Viola, a Black woman, the first woman to appear on our Canadian currency, goes to the core of the soul of Black people. For me as a Black woman, Viola's portrait on the $10 bill debunks the stereotype that society has attached to Black women. The legacy of slavery has placed in people's subconscious mind that we are angry, loud, not beautiful, difficult to work with, and pushy. Who could ever forget the comments made about the former First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama? When she was campaigning for her husband, she was the focus of questions and speculations that were rooted in fear and misconceptions like she was too loud, angry, and too emasculating. And who can forget the comments made in November of 2016 by the director of the Clay Development Corporation of West Virginia, Pamela Taylor Ramsey, who said, and I quote, "It will be refreshing to have a classy, beautiful, dignified First Lady in the White House. I'm tired of seeing an ape in heels." To which the mayor, Beverly Walling, said, "Just made my day, Pam." Beverly was subsequently fired. Michelle Obama was and still is a strong, intelligent, and hard-working She did not allow attacks, which followed her throughout her tenure to stop her from being one of the best First Ladies of the United States. On this International Women's Day, all women and young girls and youth, regardless of color, can look to Mrs. Obama and Viola Desmond as examples of hope, strength, and courage. With the unveiling of this new currency, Viola represents our hope, our courage, and our pride as a Black race. With the granting of the free pardon in 2010, Viola and her story took on the wings of a dove. Her spirit is free to soar the earth. And she is with us today. It is my dream and my wish that this historic day will be a confirmation of a new era of inclusiveness in Nova Scotia and Canada that ensures the Canadian history of exclusion, racism, sexism, and determination, if repeated, is challenged by a collective we, and not only by us. Never be forgotten. She will live on not only in Nova Scotia and Canada, but the world. To our young people, or those young people just starting out in their career, I say, when you are feeling like you want to give up because of racism or sexism and discrimination, think about Viola Desmond. Let her be one of the people that you inspired to be. Her stand for justice, her determination, her vision, and her hard work are values we must all strive for regardless of our gender or our background. Remember, she was a successful businesswoman in the 30s and 40s, not a welcoming place for Black people. Yet she was able to own and operate a business until that fateful day. You too can be successful because Viola has paved the way for you to do so. Viola has given you permission to dream and to turn your dreams into reality. Today, there are better supports to help you achieve your dreams and your goals. You must, however, believe in yourself and be prepared to work hard. And you must place excellence at the forefront of everything you do. When your friends come to you and say, well, come on out, we want to go to a party. Say, not now. I want to study, or I have my dreams that I have to fulfill. Earlier this evening, or I should say earlier today, this song came into my head. I'm not going to sing, but this song came into my head, and it was one that was way back when, and I had to ask Tracy, did we really have a song way back when called Shake Your Booty? And she said yes. It was called Shake, 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 Casey. So I said, God, why did you place that song in my head all the time? Am I supposed to stand here and shake, shake, shake? I don't know. I think what I'm supposed to tell you is that there's plenty of time to shake, 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 and shake. As you saw, 90 years old, coming down the aisle. It wasn't me, it was her. But I know how to do it too. What I'm telling you is there's plenty of time to do that. Your work and your career, get them together first and then go out and shake your feet. So I did actually say, I said, is that derogatory? She said, no, it's a song. So okay. All right. I don't want to paint a picture that things will go back. Yes, there will be twists and there will be turns. And there will be challenges. But when you face those barriers, know that you stand on Viola's shoulders and the shoulders of many others who fought for equity and justice and who have been successful. To help you climb over those barriers to achieve your dream. I didn't get here alone. People paved the way for me. And I have no problems with admitting that. But you have to believe in the power of you, and you have to love yourself. Believe you can touch the sky, believe you can soar, and believe that the doors of opportunities are waiting for you, just for you to walk through. Believe it, act on it, and you will have the abundance that you deserve. Many, many times I faced racism and discrimination, and there was one time when I did, and I guess I just sat down and I started to write, and I want to share this with you. I could be angry, but I am not. I could hate, but I do not. I can play victim, but I will not. I can hang my head and lower my eyes, but I will not. I can compromise my dignity, but I will not. I can lose my self-esteem, but I will not. I can run and I can hide, but I will not. I can lose my faith, but I will not. I can despair, but I will not. I will not allow anyone to break my spirit because I am somebody. You, the youth of tomorrow and today, you are somebody. And you have the opportunity to fly and to soar, and every time you have any doubts, I want you to get that $10 bill and put it up on your wall. And let's not disappoint Viola or all of those others who went before us, fighting and died for equity and equality. Everybody has a purpose. We all have a purpose on this earth. So whatever hardship you encountered in your fight for justice and equity, through it all, remember who is on that $10 bill. Let Viola's courage inspire you to follow the path to success and say, we have arrived, we will overcome, we are going to be the greatest that we can ever be. Thank you.
I am? Somebody. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. So right now we have a special treat for you. I'm going to introduce Cindy Kane. Cindy is a showstopper. Exercising her powerful set of pipes since the age of 3, the Halifax-based soul singer and songwriter has been a performer her entire life. From belting out gospel songs as a little girl at church to treating Club Med crowds in Florida, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic to Motown hits and familiar show tunes. Kane, who, unsurprisingly, has a background in musical theater.
All right.
Knows how to own a crowd, and she does that.
All right.
One of East Coast's greatest soul singers, she's already collected an African Nova Scotia Music Award and an East Coast Music Award nomination, has been named the Galaxy Rising Star. She knows no limits. She has shared stages with Michael Bublé, Symphony Nova Scotia, Lauryn Hill, performed at the Jazz Festival, Charles Bradley, delivering high-powered, passionate, and confident performances. She has 2 CDs. One is called Soul Food, and the second one is Essentially Cindy. And most recently, she performed in Glasgow, Scotland, and England. And Cindy is going to perform a song she actually wrote as a tribute to Viola Desmond called Stand Up, Sit Down. Stand Up, Sit Down.
This one? Okay. I have 2 young ladies that actually recorded this song with me, that I have, they're here, so I'm not sure if they want to come and sing with me. No, at least you can just stand up, and just because they actually recorded it with me. That's Georgia Rain Kane and Waddy Simmons. Wave a hand, that's okay. They're not on the stage fight, but that's okay. You guys sound awesome. The recording is forever. Okay. And thank you, man. That was so inspiring. Turn it up. Everybody, come on. Why are we just sitting here? Let's stand up for Viola. Let's turn that up a little bit more. And we gotta start again. Cause I couldn't hear it. Oh, can you start it again? Can you start it again? Can you start it? Mr. Rickens, thank you. Here we go. Hey, come on. Woo! November 8th, 1946. Her car broke down, had to get it fixed. To pass the time, went to the picture show. Hey, let me tell ya how it goes. She bought a ticket and paid her fare. Had a seat and sat in a chair. The man comes over to go upstairs. Viola looked at him, said, I declare I'm not moving. I'm tired, I'm trying to watch the movie. I'm fine. Viola Desmond, let him know they're out of line. Hey, 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 help her sing and say, help her sing. She sat down, hey, to stand up for the people. Viola knew she was equal. She sat down, to stand up for the people. Viola knew she was equal. She sat down to stand up for the people. Hey! They forced her out the picture show, took her downtown, even though she bought a ticket and paid her fare. I said, segregation better beware. They locked her up overnight. Never told her about her rights, but she wasn't moving. She was tired, trying to
was fine. Viola Desmond let them know they're out of line. Yeah, help us sing and say, help us sing. She sat down to stand up for the people. Now guess what? We can all shake our booty now. This is Mr. Carson down here. Woo! Hey! Hey! Yeah, Miss Wanda! Hey! Yeah, everybody, hey, say stand up. Woo! Hey, yeah. Woo! So I need you guys to help me. I need you guys to sing. Stand up. Say stand up. Hey. Stand up. 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 Viola Desmond let them know they out of line. Hey, hey, hey. Help us sing and say, help us sing. She sat down to stand up for the people. Viola knew she was equal. She sat down to stand up for the people. Viola knew she was equal. She sat down to stand up. She sat down to stand up. She sat down to stand up. Stand up for the people.
To invite Richard Wall, the Managing Director from Bank of Canada, to come forward to say a few words and introduce the video clip.
Boy, it's hot here. What a day. And what a location. Yeah. It's great. I'd like to thank Craig and Cap here for arranging this event. It's a real honor for the Bank of Canada to be here. It's a beautiful opportunity for us to join in with this wonderful celebration. Today's unveiling was just the latest in a series of honors for Viola Desmond. Canada Post featured her on a postage stamp in 2012 as part of their Black History Month series. She was selected as the first honoree for Nova Scotia Heritage Day in 2015. And of course, Halifax Transit named one of their ferries after Viola in 2016, following some public consultations, just like we did on the Banknote. So not only does this mean that Viola's legacy remains important around Halifax, but it also means that you'll be able to take the ferry next year and you can pay for a ride on the Desmond. So the bank has been issuing banknotes for more than 80 years. Over that time, we've had 2 queens, 1 king, 1 prime minister grace the front of our $10 note. Now, later this year, Viola Desmond will join this illustrious group, and we couldn't be happier. I'm sure if the governor was here, and Governor, you're not here, are you? he would say how proud the Bank of Canada is to be able to celebrate this event. As Governor Paula said earlier today, banknotes are works of art that tell the stories of Canada. And over the years, the stories have actually evolved. We have pictured scenes from across Canada and our nation's birds. Our $10 notes have featured peacekeepers, trains, and even a palmer plant in Sarnia. The $10 note we issued last year to commemorate Canada's 150th birthday carried images of our land and our history. And all of these are important and worthwhile. But now with the new $10 note, we are telling the story of the fundamental Canadian values of human rights and social justice. On the back of the note is the Museum of Human Rights, Museum for Human Rights. I keep being corrected on that. And there is Canada's coat of arms, with the words in Latin, "They desire a better country." And right there, on the front, tying it all together, is Viola Desmond, the woman who, and this is to steal the lyric, sat down to stand up for her rights. Every time someone holds one of these notes in their hand, they will be reminded of this remarkable Canadian, the Halifax North End community where she lived and worked, and the broader Black Nova Scotian community which supported her in her long struggle for justice. The community has produced so many exceptional Canadians, including Viola. There's Carrie Best, who featured Viola's story in her newspaper, The Clarion, in 1946. There's also Viola's irrepressible sister, Wanda, who wouldn't let the story fade. There's Her Honor, Man Francis, the former Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, right up the front of the meeting, and who spoke so eloquently prior to me. So I did learn one thing tonight, and that's not to follow Man Francis. The banners that hang in this hall in the Black Cultural Community Centre for Nova Scotia tell the stories of many exceptional Nova Scotians. In the same way, this new banknote will also tell a story. So I'd like to present a short video, which we showed this afternoon at the unveil event. And so, I don't know if we're tuning it up, but please direct your attention to the screen. So we at the Bank of Canada are proud of this banknote, and we hope our Canadians are pleased with it too. But there's one Canadian whose opinion mattered just a little bit more than everybody else's. That's Wanda. In January, some of my colleagues went to North Sydney to show Wanda the note for the first time. And if you haven't seen this clip, which is on the internet, please watch the video here. We'll go up on the screen a couple of seconds.
When the sentence came down that she wanted to get through, she got it through, she got her way. Bank of Canada. Oh. It's beautiful. Look at her. Every hair, just the way she was. It's so lifelike. It's as if she's in this room with this new $10 bill. Canadians will be reminded how Viola stood up for her rights. One woman's actions can really make a difference.
Thank you all. Thanks, all. I think we have a draw.
Sorry, I was caught up in the moment. If anybody made it to the launch they had earlier today, they were handing out little packets of Kleenex. And after you see this, you understand why. It is such a powerful and moving moment that I wish we had them to hand out to everybody. But anyway, so I don't want to prolong the big event, but I do want to ask Mr. Wall if you would come back up, Wanda Robson if you would come, followed by Craig, and Russell Gross, the Executive Director from the Black Cultural Center, to please do the big reveal.
International Women's Day. It's the day to do what has been done. This is it's to the bill. It's just I have no more words to say. You've said it all. But you know what? Would you like me to share with you a story? Well, it's a family story about Viola and myself. You can sit a long time, and I don't know for you, but I think that I'd like to tell you this. I was young, married young, crazy. He was an athlete. My father said, "Are you going to marry that man?" And I said, "Yes, I am, Dad. I love him." I mean, 21. I mean, what do you know? Anyway, I moved to Winthrop, Massachusetts. And I lived with his family in a nice home. But he was, I won't drag it out, it wasn't good. He was irresponsible. And that's the kindest thing I can say. So eventually I found myself with 3 children, 3 sons, and they're wonderful today. 3 sons. And no money, no heat, no lights. I had the electricity was turned off, and I had one of these pot-bellied stoves in front of my regular stove. My oldest son, he was 7. We used to go and try to find wood. And anything I could do to burn in this stove so I could cook soup. Jesus, it's not a very nice story. But, so my mother wrote Viola, she was living in New York, and my mother wrote Viola and said, I hadn't heard from Wanda for a long time. And there's something wrong, because I used to write Mom regularly. Do you have time to go over and see what's going on? Viola comes from New York. Oh, Wanda, what? And she comes in the doorway with her bag and switches on the light, no light. She goes to the, you have no light? What is this? Where's food? What is, oh, she said, you can't live like this any longer. There'll be a fire. Look at that stove. Your children will die. You'll die. You can't live like this. She said, did you go to social assistance? Well, I said, yes, I did. And Mrs. Johnson said, well, I don't think that the people of Winthrop, Massachusetts should give you any help. I see your husband driving around in his Cadillac and his golf clubs hanging at the back of the car. And why isn't he here? I said, I don't know. All I know is I need food and heat and lights. Well, she said, well, you'll have to sign this order for his arrest or whatever it was. So I started to walk out the door. And she said, oh, come back here. Here's a slip. You could go get some food. So, but I said, could I have the lights on? No. She said, the lights were on when we're off when he left. He's responsible. So, okay, okay. So, Viola said, well, that's it. I'm going to the town hall. Tomorrow. I said, tomorrow's Saturday, the town hall is closed. And she said, I'm going. So she said, I'll be afraid to sleep here tonight. I think I'll burn. I don't know how you do it. So next morning, she got a taxi, went to the town hall, opened the door, and there was the janitor who was cleaning the hall. He said, you can't come in here. He said, they're having a meeting. And Viola, she didn't even hear him. She said, excuse me, and walked by him and opened the door, and there was the table inside. The council was there. The mayor was there. They all looked up, and the mayor said, oh, you're sorry. We're having a meeting. We're closed to the public. And she ignored him, and she said, may I speak to Mrs. Johnson? Mrs. Johnson, that's the lady that was supposed to attend to me. She said, yes, but she said, my sister looked at her. How dare you? How dare you? You, this vulnerable woman, left with 3 children by an irresponsible husband, and you humiliate her, and you don't give her any money. You don't give her, get the lights on, she said. You will hear about this. So, the woman gets up, she's all flustered. Well, we have rules, you know, and it may be different. There are no rules for poverty. There's no rules. There are rules for children who are starving. So the mayor got up He said, she said, I'm Mrs. Desmond. I'm Wanda's sister. And he said, well, you understand, Mrs. Desmond. We are having me. I understand, she said, but he said, it's really a Saturday. And why don't you come by the office on Monday and we can discuss this? It's Saturday now. And my sister said to her, you know, she said, children die on Saturdays. When she got Viola got home, the truck was outside, oil in the tank, lights were on, and that's one of the, Viola was very conscious and very loving to the child. Hasn't it been a great day? Yes. I'm so happy. I never ever dreamed that this would come to this. And I think man, because the pardons, it started everything going from there. And you were an instigator for that. Would you ever dream that it would come to a banknote? A banknote? Yes. I just feel like I'm speechless, but my family would say, thank God. They were very nice to me. And you know what? They were jealous because I was the baby. I was the baby of the family, and they didn't like me because Mom and Dad liked me best. I have one thing, a couple of things, then I know it's been a big thing, but I'd like to tell you to go on about Viola and her foundation of all of this whole thing that's happened is education. She said that. And my mom said, my mom never, you know, they didn't say black then, they said colored people. Yes. They colored people, they must be educated in some way, whether it's trades, whether it's university, whether it's college, whether it's business, whether they like to drive trucks. Go out and be the best one you could be and get a paper for. I am certified. I can drive that truck. And you're black. But you know, this was my mother. That's the way she taught. And Viola was the same way. She was more vocal with it, more aggressive with it. Not aggressive in a loud manner. Yeah, that's right, you taught. So these are the things that Viola thought when she was teaching. She had a class in her beauty parlor. And she was very strict, but she was always thought best for her students. What was best for them? What could they take away from here? What could help them when they're out in the world? You never know what you're going to encounter. And Viola sort of said, this is what you should do. And she would educate them in every area of everything without them knowing it. Like you try to a 15, 16-year-old girl or boy, you know. You don't do it that way, you do it my way. This is what they don't know. Mom never tried that, I never tried. I'm just empty of words. I know you're happy. I just want to mention that Viola, in this banknote, it's unique, and the first female and black to be on a banknote. We've said that over and over again, but it reaches home to me when I say it to myself. It's really happening. It's really happening. And I only wish that her sisters, Emily, Viola has two sisters in Montreal. One's 104. She'll be 5 in 2 months, Emily. And then there's Eugenie Paris. She's 94. 4 years in homes. And I'm going to try to get to them and tell them what happened. And some of their children have been with us today, visiting, and they can be at the bill itself at the library. And speaking of libraries, isn't it nice to think that you can go to a library, the children go and they learn. I always went to libraries when I was small. And they can learn something. And one thing that is, I'm going to use the expression of the day, really awesome. It's really awesome. Have you heard of the ABCs of Viola Desmond? Have you heard of it? Who has not heard of it? Geez, everybody's heard. Well, it is the children's book that was printed and written, and not written, it was illustrated by children in grades 2 and 3 in the William King Elementary School. And it was so unforgettable that it's now in the schools. And have anybody read it and seen it? Yes. Yeah, well, if you haven't, go to the library and pick it up, because the children know what's wrong with us. The children, the small children, they know. And all that, it was just fantastic. And I started to read it, and when it came to the last letter, Z, whatever you pronounce it, I thought, what could they write? Like A was for B, W was for this, and anything pertaining to Viola's work. B was for beautician, C was for car. But when I came to Z, I said, no, I'm not going to, somebody told, don't turn the page. Why don't you think of something that would be pertaining to Viola or her, what happened to her? I said, heaven, cool. I thought, and another. Z was this picture drawn, stick figures, this woman sitting inside a prison, the bar, and she's sitting on a little cot, and it says Z, Z, Z. Z is for the sleep that Viola did not get. And I thought that was brilliant. And the rest of it. So it shows we're not lost. We got kids. We got these children out there, and they've got the parents now. They take it to libraries and read to them, children. So this is, I went all around. I didn't even connect anything, but I hope you got something.
And yes, we did get it. So what did we get? I'll say to the kids, education is important. So make sure we get it. And so hopefully we can all come back here for your graduations. Big party here. So at this time, so thank you again for those great words. And one of the things that always stands out for me whenever I hear you speak, and especially about the injustices that have happened to your sister is, and I quote, like, Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. And it's evident today, so thank you for that. So now I would like to invite back Cindy Kane back to the stage. Cindy is going to be accompanied by the Community Youth Choir, led by none other than Ms. Renee Smith. And they are going to be performing a song called We've Been Here.
This has been an amazing day, period. And very, very, I'm at a loss for words because I've been going through so many little different emotions today. Watching that Wanda see her sister on a $10 bill. I mean, that, so that's huge. And I'm so grateful to be standing here. And so I can actually say that I've been here, to say that, and I look in the background, I'm like, I'm looking on there, there's Viola on the $10 bill. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So I wrote a song to just acknowledge the significance of Black existence here in Canada. I'm not going to get emotional up here at all. I'm not going to do it. But we've been here. We've been here today for this $10 bill, and we can actually say that we've been here. Somebody said earlier today that she's the first unroyal woman to be on the bill, but she was royalty to me. All day, she's royalty. So I'm gonna start the song. And feel free to sing. Give it up for Miss Reed.
We've been here.
Cindy and the community youth choir and
Ansma Youth Choir.
What is it?
The Ansma Youth Choir.
Ansma Youth Choir. Thank you. Thank you. Keep all correction. I love it. Okay. For the Ansma Youth Choir, accompanied by Rainey Smith. And for those who are interested, Cindy has CDs available for sale. You can see her at the back after the program tonight. So we're winding down now, and so before I conclude this event, I'm sure, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's such a historical time, and I'm sure we can all think back now and say, you were where and what happened? You were here at the Black Cultural Center when this $10 bill was unveiled, and I couldn't be more prouder, so thank you. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to the board and staff of the Black Cultural Center for making this happen. I know Russell, coming off of African Heritage Month, I don't know how he's still standing, but thank you, Russell, for everything that you do. And oftentimes when big announcements like this are made, and sometimes it often gets missed by community. And so I want to thank Bank of Canada for actually making that extra effort to make sure that it's actually here. Because this is a proud moment not only for the African Nova Scotian community, but this is a proud moment for all Nova Scotians and all Canadians. So thank you again. So now I would like to conclude the event and invite you all upstairs for a reception. And there's actually a display upstairs on the second level. Yes? Sorry, yeah. Oh, yes, sorry, yeah. Oh, sorry, yes, sorry, Mr. Robson. Mr. Robson wants to say a few words before we conclude. And so Mr. Robson is Mrs. Robson's other half, and where she goes, he goes, so.
Just a quick remark. I really don't get to say very much in public. I wonder why. She's doing what I usually do to her. Now, this afternoon in Halifax, the event, was an event. It was very good. I think the Bank of Canada, their officials were a little worried things were not going quite the way they wanted because of some little lady from North Sydney. But anyway, today was an event in Halifax. It was really good. Tonight is a celebration.
Robson, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. I think the running joke was, I don't know if you could see Viola, because earlier today he was telling her to wrap it up, so now she was over here telling him to wrap it up, so I love it. So again, this concludes, and I want to thank everybody again for coming out. Please join us upstairs for refreshments. Thank you.
Supported by the Bank of Canada that will take photos with you with the sample of the bill. So if you can just give us a second to set that up, we'll be able to do that. Thank you.
That's right. Get my own $10 bill.